Okay, hello students. This is the Intro to Conditioning class. Before we get started, I'd like you to make sure you have one of the handouts that's in your Canvas page class shell under Files. So go to Files and you will see a handout that says Conditioning Through Dance Terminology. I'm going to be referring to this handout as I introduce some basic positions, basic alignment, and some basic step moves. And these are on your sheet as well, and so it will be helpful. You might want to have it right next to you to refer to as I break down some things. And then we will do a little bit of movement, but this is mainly an intro class. Okay, so let's go to your little sheet, and you'll see at the top it said the first number 1 says alignment and posture. And it also says see diagram of skeleton and pelvic positions in the handouts under files. So in your files you'll see a couple of other handouts. One will be a skeleton picture and another one on the pelvis. And the pelvis is, our center. And so this is a pelvic girdle area here and my little half skeleton, and here's the legs down here, and here's the spine, and the head would be here. And when we line up in our dance work, we want to be a good alignment for movement and function. And so what we refer to what we call neutral pelvis and neutral spine. Neutral pelvis means your pelvis is in its normal position where the two halves here, which match each other right and left, they have a little crest of the top of the bone that comes forward and down to come forward a little bit with these bony tuberosities in the front. And these little front pelvic points here on that plate that you see, it's kind of a spiraled plate on either side, you can find that on yourself. So like when we say put our hands on our hips, that's not really our hip up here, that's our pelvis. So when you put your hand on your top pelvic bone and slide a little forward and follow the bone, and it sticks out a little to the front there, you have a little bony part that's more forward than the rest of that bone. And that little point on each side, they should be level in the same plane with each other. So we don't want one higher than the other, so you try to get real stable on both legs equally. And then you want those 2 points to be in the same plane with your pubic bones. And the pubic bones are the front part of that pelvic bone that meet in the front down here. And that's your pubic bone area. And those pubic bones should be in the same plane with the 2 front pelvic points. And those 3 bony landmarks form this perfect neutral pelvic position. And sometimes we bring the pelvis back like this so that you're in what we call a tuck. Okay, but that's not how we want to normally work, because if I'm in a tuck, I've kind of shoved my hip bones forward and then it locks my leg and makes it hard to move. But if I'm in a neutral pelvis, I can move more easily in my legs. So we don't want to tuck in a lot of our work. We also don't want to overextend so that we stick the tailbone out to the back when we're just standing upright, so we have too much arch. So we want to lengthen the tailbone slightly, but not tuck under. So what we're trying to do here is have good bone alignment and use the muscles to support the bone alignment or posture. Then your spine has natural curves. We're not trying to obliterate those curves. We're simply trying to use our muscles to support those curves. And yes, occasionally we're going to curve our spine and round our back. And then other times we're in neutral. And then when I'm teaching you the warm-up, we're going to be in neutral spine and pelvis for most of that, unless we are doing a curving action, which we will do. Sometimes we will also bend laterally side to side, but again, your pelvis does not have to move when you do that. So when you lateral bend, it comes from your rib cage. We don't want to shove the pelvis out in opposition like this. It puts a lot of torque on your low back. So you want to make sure your pelvis is more centered in its neutral position. So for example, if I'm moving, I can still keep my good elongated spine and my neutral pelvis, and that helps support me as I move. And then even if I add rotation, I still can keep my pelvis stable. I don't need to twist my pelvis necessarily, unless I'm asking you to do that. And in that case, I'd probably ask you to move your leg with it so you don't put strain on the back. But if we're doing stationary work, when I twist, I want to keep the lower half stable. That's very important to remember so you don't put strain on the low back. All right, then in this class, we'll also be doing a lot of arm and leg work. And so your center is what you're going to stabilize with. And that again will support you so you don't put strain on the joints. So for example, if I'm bending my knees, I can lift up through my abdominals, which are these front abdominal area here. We have abdominals that come across this way, like a piece of saran wrap stretching across. And there's that like nice support system right there, kind of like a girdle or a wide seat belt coming around and cinching up around here. So there's this bracing feeling in the low belly, and then a lifting up in the front abdominals, and then your side muscles are called the obliques. And those are your side abdominals that help elongate you as well. So I don't want to sit my ribs on my hip bones. I want to make sure that I'm elongating my spine so that I don't have compression. And also when it's hard to breathe if we're kind of compressing. Now, a lot of us have been sitting at those computers a lot. So when we do that a lot, sometimes we do that little compressing and the head goes forward and the shoulders go forward, and then you get all this upper back and neck pain. So we also want to be aware of alignment, that our earlobe is directly over the center shoulder and the shoulder is directly over the center pelvis when you're in standing neutral. So I don't want to let that head come forward. So think of lengthening the back neck, just so that that earlobe is right over your shoulder. And then a lot of times when I have you move in the warm-ups, I'll say imagine you're up against a wall as you do this little bend and straightening of the knees, which in dance we call a plie. That term is on your handout, and it is number 6 on your handout. Plie means to fold, and in the case of dance, it's a bending of the knees with the center of your knee aiming directly over your big and second toe. That means I don't want to, when I plie, I don't want my knees rolling in or over pushing out. I want my knee to go tracking right over that big and second toe area. And that will support alignment through the leg and pelvis and spine so that, again, you don't put strain on the knee. So always alignment is critical to not causing undue strain or pain. So if you do feel strain or pain, the first thing you do, check your posture and alignment, because that's probably the problem. And once that's addressed, you might find that difficulty in how you feel when you move will go away, because it's really about using the muscles to support the movements that we're doing, so we do not put strain on the joints or the back or the spine, in other words. Okay, so the plie, we have what we call a demi-plie, which means a half bend. That means we're going to keep our feet planted with the heels on the floor when we bend the knees. We don't go so far down that our heels have to come up. So for everybody, your demi-plie is not going to be the same as mine. And that's because we all have differences in our tightness or flexibility and just in how our body is. I have a very long Achilles tendon, so my demi-plie can go pretty deep without lifting my heels. But if your Achilles tendon is a shorter a tendon and you can only go this far without lifting your heels, that's as far as you go. You don't go into the place where your heels lift. So when we do a demi-plie, the rule is keep your heels on the floor, okay? Then we can also do a deeper plie. We won't be doing too many of those in this class. In a deeper plie in your closed positions, that would mean you would have to lift your heels. But we're not going to do the grand plie in anything except second position. I'll go through the positions in a minute. But that's the one where it's wider and you do not need to lift your heels when you do a deeper plie because you are in a more open stance. So in a grand plie, you will not need to lift your heels in second position. And so for our purposes, just in general, remember, do not lift your heels when you do a plie. So when you hear me cue plie, keep your heels down. Now, some of these other terms I won't be using these exercises today, but just start to familiarize yourself with them. I also will be using what we call the round back, and I talked about that, and I also refer to it as a C curve, and that's number 5 on your handout. And I just want to talk about that because we'll use it in the warm-up. A round back means that my spine from the head to the tailbone is going to curve in like a big capital C shape. So it's a very open C. It's not a lowercase compressed C. So it's not compressed. It's a very high C. So I am rounding, but see how my pelvis is just slightly curling under. It's not a hard tuck and compress. It's a little bit of a tuck with the whole spine curving in what looks like from the head to the tailbone, a nice open C. So just keep that in mind. Now when I do that curve, I want to make sure I'm scooping my abdominals in and up so that I support that curve and not just compress. All right? And then we'll use a flat back, and what that means is sometimes I have you kind of hinge forward in a flat back or neutral position. So in a flat back, ideally we would be perpendicular to the floor with the head in line with the spine. And we'll do some of this in our mat work as well. And in this position, as you can see, it does require a certain amount of hamstring flexibility. So if you're tight in your hamstrings and you cannot get all the way perpendicular, just come up to where you can go to a flat back without curving and still stay in your neutral. Now notice that when I hinge, my pelvis goes with me. I can't hinge from the waist up, I have to curve. But if I want to hinge in a flat back, I have to think of going from the top of the head to the tailbone and just taking that whole thing in one piece and hinging. That means think of it like a ramrod straight stick from your head to your tailbone. And I'm going to move my arms so you can see. And then you're just going to hinge from your crease in the hip socket here. So you're just hinging. That means your pelvis is now facing the floor, the front of the pelvis, and the tailbone's aiming to the wall behind you in a flat back hinge like this. And so I will use this position sometimes in our class, and then sometimes we'll be rounding and flattening and going to and from the flat back to the C curve. And so that's an exercise we'll do too. And so I want to kind of point out some of these things so you can see and understand when I give you verbal cues in the class what I'm referring to. If you need to watch this video more than once to review that, please feel free to do that. Okay, now some of the footwork we'll be doing. In dance, we do train the feet the same way we train the rest of our body. The feet are our foundation. Very important, your foundation is both strong and flexible. So in dance, we have a series of footwork exercises we're going to do. And the ones we'll do in this class, we'll start with in our warm-ups, is some foot presses and foot articulations. So I will be asking you, and I'm just going to turn side so you can kind of see, and I think I'll get up here so you can see a little better. You're going to bring one heel off the mat, pressing a little bit over the ball of the foot. And then you're going to put the heel down and do straighten your knee all the way straight each time you put the heel down. Now, I'll do it from the front. When I lift that heel, I want my knee to track right over my big and second toe, just like I talked about earlier. I don't want to bow out like this up toward the little toe. That breaks in the ankle, and that's not good alignment and puts strain on your ankle and your outer leg. And believe it or not, that outside bone right below the right above the little toe is the most commonly broken bone in the whole body because it's not a big bone. And when you put that much weight out, and let's say you're coming out of a jump and you landed like that, ooh, bad, you could break that bone. So in dance, we train alignment as well as warming up and strengthening and stretching. So it's important how you do it. We don't just randomly kind of pick our heel up. We want to do it very precisely. So we're going to do this little heel lift. So I'm going to turn again so you can see. You're going to lift the heel up, put it down, and straighten the knee. We'll do 4 times like that, and that's just to get that stretch through the arch and spreading the toes on the mat. Then you'll Do 4 of those. Do the same thing on the other side. 4 heel lifts, aiming the knee over the second toe. Then you're going to add, and I'm your mirror, so this would be my right side. I'm going to be your mirror. So here you lift the right heel 4 times. You lift the left heel 4 times. Then you're going to go back to the right side, but you're going to add a demi-plie on the opposite leg. So as I pick up the right heel, I do a demi-plie on the left side. Then you put the heel down and straighten both legs. Bend, stretch. Now make sure when you bend, you're lifting through your abdominals. Remember, we don't compress downward. We do opposition through the body so that you're not putting pressure on the joints. If you feel it in your knee, you're not lifting up enough, or you're going too deep. You're pressing down too hard. So we do 4 with the demi-plie on each side. When you put the heel down, remember, straighten your knee all the way. I'm going to do it from the side. You're going to pick up the one heel as you bend the opposite knee, put the heel down as you straighten both legs. You bend both legs, you straighten both legs as you're picking up the heel and putting it down. Now, after we've done that 4 on each side, we do what we call a separated foot. You go to that ball, lift enough to point the foot just off the floor for a second, put the ball of the foot back down, and then the heel down. So you're going to go ball, toe, heel. Ball, toe, 4 times, heel. Ball, toe, heel, ball, toe, heel. And then you're going to do the other side. You won't turn. I'm just showing you from the side so you can see. Ball, toe, heel, ball, toe, heel 4 times, separating through those parts of the foot and straighten the knee every time you put the heel down. Then we roll through the foot 8 times. It's a push and a press. So you roll through the ball to the point. So instead of stopping and stopping and stopping and stopping, we're going to go push, press, push, press. But see how I point the foot when it leaves the floor. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 5, and a 6, and a 7. Then you change sides after 8. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 5, and a 6, and a 7, and a 8. So we've got 4 heel lifts each side with 4 heel lifts each side with nothing but the heel moving, right and left, then 4 with demi-plie, right and left, then separated 4 times, right and left, and then 8 pushes right and left. All right, now we're going to do that whole sequence and turn out. In dance, we work both parallel and turned out. So this is a good time to go through the foot-leg positions. So in dance, we have 5 basic positions of the feet and legs. We can work in parallel and in turnout. In this class, we're only going to use positions 1 and 2. So, parallel position, and we call this first, we number them first position parallel. This position, you have about a fist distance between your ankle bones, between your inside ankle bones. Fist distance between your inside ankle bones. And the feet are lined up parallel to one another like the number 11. You're going to feel like you can stand nice and easy in this position. But when you are, we want good alignment. You're up against your imaginary wall. When you bend the knees, you should slide down your imaginary wall. When you straighten your knees, you slide up your wall. What we do not do is this. That's not a plie, that's a squat. Demi-plie, you slide down your wall in neutral position and you stretch. So you're going to be doing some demi-plies in parallel. And then we're going to do parallel second. Parallel second is wider than your pelvic bones, but we're still in parallel, not turned out. And we'll do a lot of things here. This is a position we will use a lot. Then there's one more parallel position I use, which I just call closed parallel first. So in parallel first, we had a fist apart. I like to close it all the way up for that footwork I just showed you. So the ball to the heel part that I showed, we're going to do that in a closed first, which means there's no space between the ankles and your toe joints are together, the big toe joints, and then your inner legs are zipping up together. And then you have those tight abdominals and you're in that neutral position. All right, so we have parallel closed first, regular parallel first, and then open second position parallel. In turnout, bring yourself back together and you just simply keep your heels together and open your toes on a diagonal. Do not overforce them open. And this is our turned out first position. In dance, we number them, as I said, and remember that in first, you're going to have your heels together, toes on a diagonal, and your inner legs are zipped up. So your legs are very taut and active. They're not just kind of relaxed hanging out here. So your heels together, you zip up your legs. Now your glutes, you'll feel them kick in. In turnout, we have to use our glute muscles because they are your rotator muscles that rotate your legs open. And so you're getting a feeling of wrapping in the outside of the pelvis here around. But what I want you to be careful of is not to over grip the glutes and tuck. So you're in a turnout with your glutes actively bracing around or wrapping around, but don't over grip and shove your tailbone under. No, we want that tailbone just lengthening toward the floor, not tucking under. Okay, first position, turned out, and then we'll use the second position again, but in turnout, where the heels are about 1.5 of your own feet between your heels, or I like to say make sure your heels are slightly wider than those two front pelvic points. So see, it's pretty open. And that way it's easy to bend and stretch, and when we get to our plies, it'll be easy to do that if you're in a wide position. Now, one other thing you need to know is we do a combination of some things where we do a demi-plie on one leg, but we keep the other leg straight, and we call that a lunge. And that is on your handout. And so if you look at number 10 on your handout, I will be doing some lunges today, so I just wanted to point that out to you. And so what happens in a lunge is your legs will be open and you'll be bending one knee while the other stays straight. Your weight goes over toward that bent leg, but my body stays upright in its neutral most of the time when we do lunges. So I'm supporting so I don't put strain in the knee. You're lunging, one knee bent, one leg straight, and you can do that to the other side. Now these are side lunges, but I can also lunge in a forward direction where I lunge by putting one foot forward with the knee bent and then one leg straight in the back. That's a forward lunge, all right? And usually the heel is either down or I may say the heel can come up. We can also lunge back. I won't be doing too many of those in this class because they're a little complicated and they're hard for balance. We'll do those in a more advanced level or more intermediate level. But I will be doing turned out lunges as well. So if you go to that turned out first position that I taught you, then you could do a lunge and turned out second. So we can do them both parallel and turned out. And you can do a lunge forward in turn out as well. So notice I'm keeping my hip bone points aiming straight forward when I do this. I don't want to torque, to one side when I lunge. I want to stay very aligned. And then I want to use my abdominals to help me shift my weight. Okay? When you shift your weight, your pelvis, again, stays neutral. It doesn't stick out. So this would be a bad lunge where I'm sticking out. I want my upright body with that position. Okay? Now, roll down. I showed you a flat back and a neutral spine. Now we also do roll downs. So if we start in a parallel second, neutral position, arms just hang to the side. Now in dance we used a combination of arm shapes. You can have a softly curved arm by just rotating your elbow a little to the side, palms toward the body, wide collarbone across the chest, ear over shoulder, good posture, zip the belly. Now, with this, I can just keep the arms down, right? But we can use the arms by bringing them up, and we call this port-de-bras, carriage of the arms. It's a French term that we use in ballet, but we use it in other styles of dance as well. So port-de-bras means moving through the positions. You're going from low to middle to high, and then opening side or second. Low to middle to high and open. But see how my arms are just in a long curve shape, right? And I can do both arms, right? Port-de-bras. Now, we can also use straight arms, and sometimes we use straight arms, and we do angular movements. So I might do some angular movements, right? And so that's another way we can use the arms is straight. So curved or straight, or I can use angled positions, or straight arm positions with palms front, palms side, palms toward each other, or palms, down here facing back or forward. So you can use a lot of combinations. And in this class, we will use different combinations. So just kind of listen to my cues. I'll usually demonstrate, what we're doing, cue what we're doing. Okay, so in the warm-up, we'll be doing some lunges, and I'll be adding some arm port-a-bras. So I'll use some soft curved arms, and you'll be circling from the low to the middle to the up and open as you go into these lunges, side to side, right? And so that is some warm-up stuff that we'll be doing today. Now, I'd like you to pause at this point to get some props we're going to use. Normally at school, I would use some props that we have at school like sticks, Thera-Bands, balls, and hand weights. But instead, we're going to use stuff you might have at home. So one thing I'd like you to get is a regular, just hand-sized towel. Fold it once lengthwise and twice lengthwise. Then you're going to grab the very ends and put it in your hands. And when I'm using it, I'll have you do it taut, meaning it's not limp, you're holding it taut. That activates your arm muscles. And you can probably see on me the difference between a softer arm and when I do the tautness, it kicks in my arms a little. Then you also want to check your wrist. I don't want to break the wrist and flex or push down. I want the hand wrist in line with my lower arm. So I want to keep the wrist stably aligned. I don't want to curl in or out. I want it straight on. All right? I'm doing an overhand grip. Lightly wrap the fingers, don't over grip, and widen your collarbone so we don't pull the shoulders forward. Then I might add things like just reaching forward as we do a demi-plie and pressing down as we straighten, but with that tautness. So then you feel your isometric contraction of your muscles, a great way to tone those muscles. And then we might go overhead. Now when we go overhead, you want to be careful that you don't go behind yourself and pop your ribs out, but that you just go to slightly in front of the crown of the head and then back down there. So you just go a little up, but not back. You don't want to lean back, okay? And I'll add some things like that. I might also just swing it across, but keeping taut arms, so you feel that, again, toning action. And then I might bring it behind and do little lifts. We call this chest expansion. It's a Pilates exercise. And of course, we're going to do a little Pilates in here as well. And so there's a lot of little variation we'll do there. So have that ready. Another thing I like you to have, I like to use a spacer when we go to mat work between the legs. So if you get a towel that's a bath-sized towel, bigger, longer, fold it again in half twice, lengthwise like we did with the shorter one. So I'll just show on the shorter one again. This will be with your big towel though. Fold it from open, you fold it once, lengthwise, twice, lengthwise. Then you're gonna roll it tight, but you'll have this bigger one. And then after you roll it, it's helpful if you rubber band it. I use some large rubber bands, but if you don't have rubber bands, you can use a ribbon or rope or string to tie it. And it's easier that way so it doesn't keep unraveling on you. And I use this as a spacer between the legs in our mat work. And then I use it later in the semester for some abdominal work where I place it behind the back and so forth. So, good little prop to have ready. We may or may not use it today, but have it ready for each class. If you happen to own a Thera-Band of any kind, always have that as well, because I use it for stretching. And if you don't have a Thera-Band, you can also use a large bath-sized towel again, which would be that longer one that I used for the roll. So if you have a second one, you take it, and I'm just going to show on this one, and you fold it twice again, but this time you're going to twist it. So you're holding it, but when you twist it, it gives just a little give in there. And then we'll hook it and do stretches, but you'll have a longer one so that you can pull it down and hold it for like our hamstring stretches at the end of class I like to do. And I usually use a Thera-Band, but again, if you don't have one, you can use a long twisted towel. So I did want to go over that today in our intro class, to have those things ready for each class so that you don't have to stop and go get them. Always have your areas organized before you start your classes, and that really helps. Okay, so the only other things on here that I'm probably going to go over today are a few of our movement steps. So you can see on Well, yes, there's a section called movement steps, but before we even do that, we're going to start with just some real basic step touch. So that means I'm going to step to one side in that parallel position, tap the ball of the foot next to the other foot, but notice both knees are bent. So remember we did those little warm-up exercises. Here it is, but I'm just tapping it. I'm not holding there very long. And we'll do these starting side to side. So we'll go step right, touch left, step left, touch right. And I'm keeping my knees bent, right? And we'll add some arms possibly. Remember we were talking about using different arms, and I may be adding some different arms as we do these little step touches in rhythm with the music. And we'll do them first side to side, okay? Then I may add to that some things like 3 steps and a touch, except we'll have to cross one foot over in order to travel sideward. I'm assuming most of you don't have large spaces at home to move in, so I'm trying to also keep my space smaller so you understand that it can still work. So you just need a 3 feet maybe out to one side, and you can step right, cross the left in front, step right again, and then do that little touch tap. Then you go the other way, pick with your left foot, step side, cross over in front, step side, and a touch. So it goes 1, 2, 3, touch, 1, 2, 3, touch, 1, 2, 3. Then of course we can add arms to that, and I'm calling this a grapevine step. So on your handout, if you look at number 4 on the movement steps, it has the description of the grapevine listed. And then there's some other ones we'll learn as we go along, but today I think that is enough information that we can actually start warming up a little bit. So I'm going to teach you the opening warm-up, which is set, and then after that you're just going to follow me. Okay, so we're going to start in a parallel second. Parallel second position, neutral spine and pelvis, abdominals braced, wide collarbone, arms shaped to the side with a slight soft elbow, palms toward the body, nice energy upward, lifting those inside legs. And now we're going to do a roll down. We're going to take 4 counts to roll down. Now this is that curving of the spine. So we nod the chin, we roll down 1, 2, 3, as far as you can go forward. Now you may say, oh, I'm tight, I can only go to here. That's okay. You can put your hands on your legs even if you need support. Keep your belly tight though, so you don't put strain on your back. If you can go and touch the floor or just hang too close to the floor, that's fine. Be careful you don't pull your shoulders out of your back, but do let your head relax and look at the wall behind you when you get all the way down. Now I know right now you're watching me a lot probably, but eventually you will be able to just listen to me and know what we're doing. Okay, once we get here, you're going to bend the knees over the second toe and then straighten the legs. Twice. So what is this? Demi-plie. Then you're going to roll back up, but initiate with your abdominals. So as I start my roll up, I first go, tight belly, navel to the back waist, and roll up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to do 2 plies again with the knee over the second toe as your arms do that port-de-bras forward and up. You do 2 plies. Now we're going to reach from our side waist, those side obliques, straight up reaching the right arm, then the left, alternating 6 times. 4, 5, 6, and then press the arms out and down, 7, 8. Shoulder isolation. Isolation means we're isolating one body part while keeping the rest of the body stable and quiet. And we're going to take the right shoulder forward, up, back, and down like a circle. 1, then the left. 2, 3, 4. We do 6 of them. 5, 6. I'm sorry. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Press 7, 8. We're going to do 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And then you do a head tilt. Keep my face forward. Don't look down. Your ear goes towards your shoulder, but keep your body upright. And then you roll it forward to the other side, ear toward the shoulder and center. It's just a half. It's not, you don't go back and look up. You're going side, forward, side, center. Then we repeat it, but we're going to start the left part, the reaches on the left side first. So we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 demi-plies, Scoop your belly and roll up. 5, 6, 7, 8. Start your 2 demi-plies with your arms going forward and up, and then start your left side reaching 6 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Press out. 7, 8. Then start your left shoulder to circle. 2, 3, 4. Head to the side, starting left. 7, 8. Hopefully that makes sense. We're going to repeat that in parallel first. Roll down 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 demi-plie. Scoop the belly, roll up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 demi-plies as your arms go forward and up, reaching, starting with your right side 6 times. Press out and down. Circle starting with your right shoulder 4 times and head to the right. Then you repeat it, but you're starting left for the second part. And then we go to turned out first, repeat the whole thing. Turned out second, repeat the whole thing. And then you're just going to follow me after that. And I'll just have you follow me as I do some of the stuff I introduced in this setup. I know a lot of talking the first day, so that's why it's important that you review this if you need to, because the next class we do, I won't be breaking all this down like that. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of just rhythmic music on. We're going to do that little opening warm-up, and then you're going to follow me after we finish that set little sequence. Okay, so let's start in a nice wide parallel second position, and then go ahead and get into good posture. All right, let's take a couple breaths. Inhale, wide second, exhale, inhale, exhale, tight belly, navel to the back waist, tailbone toward the floor, no tuck, and just shake the arms. Now we're going to roll down. 1, 2, 3, 4, demi-plie and stretch, plie and stretch. Roll it up. 2, 3, 4, plie with port de bras. 6, 7, reach from the waist. 1, 2, 3, 6 times. 5, 6, press out. 7, 8, right shoulder, 1, left shoulder, 2, 3, head to the right, 5, 6, roll it down, and 1, 2, plie, and bend, stretch, bend, stretch, roll up, 2, 3, left shoulder, oh, sorry, okay, now I messed that up, so plie, reach it, 2 more. Now just do the head part. I messed that one up. All right, pause it for a second. Bring your feet parallel. First position, there's a fist right between the ankles. Rolling down, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, plie, stretch. Knee over second toe, roll it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, demi-plie, arms up. Reaching right side for 6. 2 more. Press out. Right shoulder. Then head to the right. Repeat. Roll down. 1, 2. Tight belly. Demi-plie. Demi-plie. Roll up. Demi-plie with port de bras. Slide down your wall. Reach. 2 more. Press out and down. Left shoulder. Head to the left. Now we're going to bring the heels together. Turn out first. Roll down, zip those legs. Plie, knee over second toe. Roll it up. Tight belly. Demi-plie, knee over second toe. Reach, start right. 6 times. Press out and down. Right shoulder. Head to the right. Roll down. 1, 2, plie. Roll it up. Demi-plie with port de bras. Start left. left shoulder. Head to the left. Let's open, turn down second. Roll down. 1, 2, plie. Roll up. Scoop your belly up and tight. Demi-plie with port-de-bras. Knee over second toe. Right arm, reach. Left, right, left. 2 more. Press out and down. Right shoulder circle up and back and alternate. Head to the right, ear to the shoulder, forward, side. Now last time, roll down. 2, plie. Roll it up, tight belly. Knee over second toe, demi-plie with port-de-bras. Start left, reach it for 6. Press out and down. Left shoulder circle. Right, left. Head to the side. All right, now just start right here. Angled arm. You're going to press out and down, palms front, in and palms toward the body. So it's real close to me. Out and in. We're going to do a deeper grand plie. Here we go. Plie, reach, stretch and bend. Reach, stretch and bend. Knee over second toe, tailbone toward the floor, but don't tuck under. Nice long spine, tight belly. Now single count, we go plie, stretch, plie. Tight lifting through the abdominals. Don't let that belly sag. 4 more. 3, 2. Stay on this one. 1. Now right heel goes up and down. Stay in your plie. Oh yeah, we're feeling it. Right, left heel up and down. Now alternate. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Yes, right, left. Now you go down, come to angle, down and open. Lift and open. 1 more. All right, reach up. Go parallel. Open the arms. We're going to lunge. Right knee over second toe. Shift to the other side. Make sure your knee is right over that foot. Don't let it roll inward. One leg straight, one leg bent at a time. Whole body shifts as a single piece. So I'm not leaning forward. No, I'm not doing anything but just shifting through the leg. All right, we're going to go tempo. Here we go. To the right, to the left. One leg straight, one leg bent. Lunges. We're going to add a single arm circle. As you go right, circle the right. As you go left, circle the left. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more. Circle. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now just a shoulder circle. Now push one arm out and flex that hand. Push, 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 push. Now both arms, push, lunge, lunge, push. Last 2. Now stay and push out and hold. Flexed hand a little below shoulders. Knees are bent in plie. Good posture. Circle forward. 1, 2, 3. We're in parallel. 4, 5. Keep it small. Now reverse that circle. Oh yeah. 3. Nice taut arms. 6. Now we're going to lunge again. Just lunge. Parallel legs. Now we're going to take arms across. We're going to do a small upper body twist. Remember what I said earlier. Don't move your pelvis when you twist. Just your upper body. Here it goes. Twist, twist. But you're not moving below the waist. You're just lunging below the waist. Your upper body only is twisting. 4 more. Now, inhale, center. Exhale, turn out again. Plie, hold it, hands on thighs. Rib cage shift. This is an isolation. Your pelvis doesn't move. It's just your rib cage sliding side to side. Right, left. Now we're going to do a little quicker. Right, left, left. You got it. And 8, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now center. Now parallel the legs. I'm go to that flat back, hands on your thighs, elbows bent. Try to get that nice tabletop in your back. And we're going to do a cat stretch. So we do that C curve. Remember the C curve we did at the beginning. It's right here. We go cat stretch, I call it, and then flat to neutral. Round the back, lengthen it out. Contract. Navel pulls in and up when you round that back, and your shoulders do not hunch. But yes, you're curving from your head to your tailbone. All right, now hold here. Now we go contract and flat. A little quicker. Contract and flat. 2 more. Now roll all the way up. Interlace your hands behind. I'm going to turn so you can see. So I'm interlacing my fingers behind. I'm going to press straight down and lift slightly to stretch that chest. Now round forward and roll down. Then release the hands to come to the floor. And hands down if you can. Now we're going to do demi-plies here. Bend the knees over the second toe. Stretch it. Plie. Stretch it. 2 more. Plie. Stretch it. Plie. This time straighten and hold. Take your upper body to your right leg. Try to get your head down towards your knee. Hold it there and stretch. Over to the other side. Towards your left leg. Head toward the knee. Try to keep your knees straight. Tighten your belly. No saggy abdominals. Then come back to center. Bend your knees. Hands on your thighs. Round your back. Roll it up, tightening your belly. All the way up. Circle the shoulders back and down. Both shoulders up, back and down. And again. All right, grab that little short towel. This is your hand towel. Fold it twice. Take the ends. Make it nice and taut. Go to your wide parallel second. And we're going to take it down here for right now. Now you're going to lunge right, left. Here's that parallel lunge. One knee bent, one leg straight, shifting side to side. Now take the arms to a diagonal, but keep that tautness in the towel. Don't let your towel go limp. Oh no, you're not working here. You got to have a straight, nice straight arms, taut towel. And now bring it center. Reach up and plie. Remember I said don't go too far back. Overhead is as far as you go, not behind yourself. When you plie, tailbone toward the floor. Don't stick your butt out. No squatting. It's just a plie. It's a demi-plie parallel. Plie. Stretch. Plie. Stretch. 2 more. Plie. Stretch. Plie. Now bring it just across from the base of your breastbone, which we call the solar plexus. There's that little soft spot right at the bottom of your breastplate or sternum. Your towel is lined up across, not at your shoulder height, a little below shoulder height. Bend your knees in demi-plie. All right, now we're going to go to the thighs and bend forward. Stretch, bend. You're only going halfway up. Keep that tautness on the towel. Don't let it be limp. Nice straight wrist. 2 more. Tight. Hold it. Now bring the arms down. We're going to straighten the legs as we go all the way up again for 4. 1, 2, 3. Last one, stay. 4. Bend your knees with the arms up. Tip diagonal side. Now remember, in the early part of class, I said when you side bend, you don't need to move your pelvis. So your pelvis does not move. You're only moving above the waist. Let's do it again. Side, lateral bend, side bend. Keep your towel directly above you. Don't let it drop down. It stays right up here. 2 more. We're feeling it. Now we bring it down, lunge it across. 2 more. Bring it center. Now take it behind. Now you're keeping it taut right behind you. And I'm going to turn so you can see. Plie. Now you lift it back and down. So it comes down to your back legs. When you reach back, don't lean forward though. Keep your upright posture. Nothing moves but your arms. Now 3 pulses back and down. 1, 2, 3, down on 4. Oh yeah. 2, 3, down on 4. 1, 2, 3, down on 4. 1, 2, 3. Now singles again. Press. 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 Hold it. Now we do 8 presses. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in front. Lunge across. Right, left. Hope you felt that a little bit. I did. Oh yeah. 2 more. Good. All right, let's put our towel down. Shake it out a little bit. Now, go to your wides, parallel again. Bend your knees and plie. Arm across. Going to stretch those shoulders we just worked. Just press it towards you, but don't hunch up. Shoulder down. Take the other arm across. Press towards you, but keep the shoulder down. Yeah. All right, now we're going to do a little step touch. Bend your knees and demi-plie with your tight abdominals, neutral spine and pelvis. Shoulders back and down, wide collarbone. You go step to the right, touch, step to the left, touch. Step, touch. Remember we went over this, now tempo. Step, touch. You're keeping both knees bent throughout this in a small plie, but you're moving your whole body side to side. Now we're going to add circle, single arm, right, left. Keep that step touch going. Coordinate it. Four more. Now both arms, soft elbow. Go halfway. You don't come all the way down. Up over just to shoulder height to the side. Palms face up toward the ceiling. 4, 3. Now single arm for 4 times. 1, 2, 3. Both arms for 4 times. 1, 2, 3. Single arm for 4. Both arms for 4. Now 2 of each. Single arm twice. Both arms twice. Do that again. 2 more times. Last time. Now no arms on this next part. We're going to step, cross in front. We called that what? A grapevine. You cross in front, 3 steps and a touch. Step, cross, step, touch, step, cross. We're going to go tempo. Here we go. Step, cross, step, touch. Now if you don't have much room, you can take it smaller or do it in place and just move a teeny bit. If you have more room, then use it. We're going to add both arms doing that half circle. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, touch. 1, 2, 3. Keep crossing in front down that second step. Now let's add a clap on the touch. Clap. 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 4 more. Last time. Single step touch, no arms. Now just circle the shoulder edge in the circle it the same shoulder as the step you're stepping on. So you do right shoulder, right foot, left shoulder, left foot. Now take it open second. Deep inhale. Exhale. Again. Inhale. Feet together. And exhale. You're going to take, if you need to hold on to something, you can hold on to the back of a chair or a countertop or whatever you can. And we're going to do a thigh stretch or quadricep stretch. So you're going to take, with parallel position, right foot in right hand, knees together. Other arm can open to the side, and you're going to bring the knees together. Again, balance. Try to press that foot into the hand and feel that quad stretch in the front. I'm going to hold on. Here we go. Hold it. I'm on carpeted floor. If you're on a carpeted floor, it's a little harder to balance. So you might have to hold on. Feel that stretch. Deep breaths. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's go to the other side. Hold on if you need to. going. We're doing real basic at this point. We're just trying to get into the groove. And if you're like me right now, a lot of sitting, hard to do that. So we're just trying to get moving. So the goal here is just to move. Don't worry if it's perfect yet. The more we do our classes, the more you'll get used to the vocabulary and to the alignment cues. Yeah. So we're going to finish off with a little bit of mat work. What you need to do is have a space you can lay down. If you have a carpeted floor, that's probably ideal. If you do not, use folded towels underneath your either a yoga mat or just use towels, and that would be fine. All right, and so what we're going to do is transition. If you need to pause me to do that, feel free. And we're just going to work on some basic concepts in mat work that we'll be using throughout our course. I'm going to move the camera forward a little bit for this part just so you can see me a little better. All right. There we go. Okay. Now this is the section where I would like you to have your long twisted towel for the stretch part we're going to do. And also this rolled thicker towel for a spacer if you have that ready. All right, so we're going to roll down on our back. To do that carefully, just tuck and roll on one side, bend your knees in, and then roll onto your back. Center yourself so that you're in that neutral spine lying down. So what does that mean? Well, if I tuck, I'm smashing my low back down. Now later we'll do some pelvic tilts, but I want you to see the difference between just smashing it. See how it bulges right here? Oops. Not a good way to train your muscles for your abdominals. So instead, this is neutral. I have a tiny space under my waist, but you don't see it very much because your back ribs are down and we have muscle and flesh under there. So between the bone and the floor, you're not going to see a lot, but your bones have a little curvature right there in your spine. We're not obliterating it when we're in neutral. So I'm in neutral. That's where we start. And your knees are going to be bent so your feet are right under your knees. And here's where I'd like the feet and knees about a fist apart like we did standing. And here's where you can use that spacer between your knees just to remind yourself to keep your knees lined up over your feet. Put a little pressure on the towel so it doesn't fall out from between your legs. Now we're going to just go in this neutral pelvis. The two front pelvic points are in line with your pubic bone facing the ceiling parallel to the ceiling. Brace across your low belly like a saran wrapping across a bowl of food, flattening it down. And then your tailbone is lengthening in the direction of your feet. And you're in this neutral. Then we're going to move in and out of neutral by scooping the low belly and hollowing it in and up. See how it's like a scooping out. Like a melon scooper came in and scooped out the front body. Not bulge like that. That's wrong. But a hollow. Can you see the difference, I hope? And that's how you tilt. Then you lengthen and you're back in that neutral. So we're going to go curl to the tilt, roll back to neutral. Pelvic curl. And you just have your arms alongside you. I just moved mine so you could see. But that's what it is. Curl. Now nothing's under your head except your mat or towels, so your head is level with your spine. Curl, release. Now keep it in neutral for a minute. We're going to start with that tilt. Watch it first. I'm going to curl and roll my pelvis off the mat up to a straight line between my shoulders and knees. We call this the bridge or bridging. This is a straight line where yes, your glutes and hamstrings will kick in. And you want to keep that spacer between your legs, all right? And do not go up high like this. Don't push up onto your neck and head. It's right about the upper shoulders, and you're in a straight line from shoulders to knees. Then you're going to roll down bone by bone through your spine sequentially until your tailbone returns last. So this is not a lift and a lower, it's a rolling up and a rolling down. So you're trying to roll through the spine, not just press up. All right? Plant your feet under your knees. Here we go. Pelvic curl, hollow first, flatten the waist.
Keep pulling the belly in as you roll up. Find that straight line. Then sink the upper chest. Roll down bone by bone. Feel your waist to make contact before your tailbone finishes down to the mat. All right, now we're going to roll up 4 counts. Roll down 4 counts. Ready, and curl. And roll down. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, roll down. 6, 7, 8. Curl 1. Roll up. 3, 4, roll down. 6, 7, 8. Curl 1, 2, 3, 4, roll down. 6, 7, 8. Curl 1, 2, 3, 4, roll down. Okay, yeah, we're feeling it. Curl, roll down. All right, now stay down in neutral. Keep your lower half stationary. Do not move your pelvis at all. It's not going to curl now at all. It's staying in neutral. Interlace your fingers. Heels of the hands behind your back skull. So the heel of your hand goes right back here. Elbows side diagonal. Don't pull the elbows back or forward so that it becomes like a hammock for your head. But don't pull with your hands on your head, just support your head. Now we're going to do an ab curl or chest lift. When we do this, nothing is going to move below the waist. You're not crunching and curling your tailbone. No, 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 no. Because then you're using your glutes, not your abdominals. All right, so interlace, hands behind the head. Now, nothing moves below the waist. You stay in neutral pelvis. Nod the chin first. Sink your breastbone to curl the chest forward. Look at your legs. Do not look at the ceiling. Do not look at the ceiling. Look forward. Do not pull on your head. Just support it. Yes, you will not go very high. It's smaller. Lower down. Nod and curl. Hold it at the top. Hold it and lower down. Nod and curl. Tailbone stays on the mat. Hold it. Now 2 counts up, 2 counts down. 1, 2, lower, 2. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now 3 counts up. Hold up. 1, 2, 3. Down on 4. Hold up. 2, 3. Down on 4. Hold it up. 2, 3. Down 4. Hold up. 2, 3. Now we add on. Curl and stay. Twist to the right. Center. Down. And curl. Twist to the left. Center. Down. Keep that tailbone anchored. Curl. Twist to the right. Center. Down. Nod the chin and curl. Twist to the left diagonal. Don't lift your shoulder too much over. Now when you twist, you're not trying to get your elbow down and rock your pelvis. No, you're just twisting your upper body to the diagonal. Don't move the lower half. Keep your feet planted. Now we're going to go a little quicker with that. Here we go. Curl, twist, right, center, down. Curl, twist, left, center, down. Curl, twist, right, center, down. Curl, twist, left, center. 2 more times. Curl, twist, center, down. Curl, twist, center, and down. All right, remove that little spacer. Hug your legs in from behind. Hug your knees to your chest and rock a little side to side. Stay there and rock. I'm just going to turn my sound down just a little. All right, we're going to do some stretching next. If you have a Thera-Band, you'll use it. If you do not, use that longer twisted bath-sized towel. We're going to stay in our laying down position, knees bent. Take the center of your band or towel, hook it over the sole of your right foot in the arch area. Make sure it's not on the front of the foot because it could pop off, and if you have a band, that could hit you in the face and hurt you. So make sure it's secure on the middle of the foot. Then choke up a bit if you have the Thera-Band and pull the elbows to the mat so you have some tension. If you do not have a Thera-Band, grab the ends of your towel because you won't be able to pull it down unless you grab lower down and just hold it where it's taut. Kind of like we did the short towel, just make it taut. And you'll still get some good stretching sensation there. All right, so now draw your tailbone down because yes, we are going to still be in a neutral pelvis for our stretches. Meaning, don't pull your legs so close to you that you tuck your pelvis and curl your butt up. No, the tailbone is lengthening towards your wall opposite you. You're level in your pelvis neutral, and then you're going to find your stretch position there. That way you get the full muscle on the back side. The hamstring connects up on your sitting bones on your pelvis. So if you tuck, you miss that part of the stretch. So you do want to get neutral. Now, you have the option of straightening the bottom leg if you have that kind of flexibility to still keep your neutral pelvis. If not, bend your knees slightly. That's okay. Now, you might say, well, gee, Professor, I can't get my legs straight and feel like I'm getting a stretch. Well, just bend your knee a little bit if you need to. If you're way down here, it's better if you come up and bend it just a little. But don't bend it too much. And then eventually you want to get it all the way straight. Now, if you can get it to a little bit more toward the ceiling, think of your foot, the bottom of your foot, standing on the ceiling. And keeping it on the ceiling, take a small bend we call demi-plie and stretch. So that should be familiar, demi-plie, but now we're doing it upside down. Plie, stretch, plie, and hold it. And now you're going to bring the other foot in. Carefully put this foot in first. Switch out by carefully taking the other leg out. Find your tailbone down, neutral pelvis. Flex the foot, and if you can get toward the ceiling, great. And if not, and it's further down, that's okay. It takes time to build flexibility. I do recommend you do stretches every day, though. All right, now keep that foot planted on the ceiling. Stretch that back leg as much as you can. Tighten across your low belly, and make sure you're not hunching in your shoulders, because even in stretching, we don't want to create unnecessary tension. You just should have the tension in the muscle you're stretching. But remember, when you stretch, don't go to the extreme where you feel a pulling or burning sensation. You just want to stretch where you feel the light stretch, not overdo it. Then take a small plie and stretch. Keep your foot standing on the ceiling. Plie, stretch, plie, stretch. One more. Plie, stretch and hold. Take another deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Soften both knees, release your band. Put it to the side, rub your hands out. Now, we're going to do a hip stretch. You're going to cross your right ankle over your left thigh and open that right knee. Thread through the middle of the leg with your right hand, and your left from the outside, grab the back of your left leg. Pull it towards you as you use your elbow on the right side to press that right thigh open just a little bit. This is your, I just call this thread the needle stretch, and you're doing a little hip stretch on the right side. You might feel it on the leg that's crossed. You'll feel it on the back side of that hip area. It's a really good stretch, especially because we do a lot of lunging and plies, and it will help stretch out that area. We worked quite a bit today, believe it or not. And then we're going to switch by taking the left across the right. Open the left knee a little bit, so you make like a number 4 in your legs. Thread through the middle with your left hand, and the right leg hand goes around the outside. Both hands grab behind your back right leg. Pull that right leg towards you. Use your left elbow to slightly press the left thigh open, but don't rock to one side more than the other. Keep it as centered as you can. You'll feel the stretch on the back side in this back hip area here. That's good if you feel it there. If you don't, it means you're not very tight back there, or maybe you didn't work very hard today. So as you get more familiar with the work, you'll be able to work a little more vigorously. Take deep breath. Exhale. And then hug both legs in again and rock to your side, come to sit. Now, sitting is a difficult position for some of us, but we're going to do a little inner thigh stretch here, and if it's uncomfortable for you, you can use a lift. And so you could use either a phone book, phone books are outdated, but if you have some old ones, or a textbook, a couple of textbooks stacked and wrap a towel over them.
or like a bolster or something that's going to give you a little sitting pad. And I recommend you have those for our seated work. And then that puts me up so I can sit more comfortably in my Taylor sit, which is a cross-legged position sit. And we're going to use that in a minute. But we're also going to right now do a stretch with the soles of our feet together in this little diamond shape. Now I'm going to turn side for a minute so you can see. I want to make sure I can get up in my neutral. If I bring the feet too close to me, I'm kind of hunkered up and rounded. So move your feet far enough away that you can get up on your sit bones, and then like somebody grabbed your back pant waist and pulled up. You want that lift in your low back, and then pull your belly in the front and feel that length there. Then hinge to a flat back diagonal and press out on your inner thigh with your elbows, and just feel a nice stretch through your inner legs, and you might feel a little stretch just by hinging forward in a flat back. I like to use both flat back and round back for stretches, so we're starting in flat back. Flat back means neutral spine. Now keep that hinge forward, but just round over in a C-curve spine, and you'll feel the stretch a little differently. And I like to stretch both ways because they stretch you a little differently. Now you might feel more of the stretch in your back area, but you might also still feel it in your inner legs. Everybody's different in terms of where they're tight. Take a deep breath, pull your navel towards your back waist so your belly is activated. Then roll up through your back. Then we're going to cross the legs again in front in a Taylor sit. Get on your sitting bones. Those are the little bones underneath your pelvis that you sit on. And just kind of rock and find them and sit tall. Fingertips to the side. Get in a good lifted neutral. We're going to do a lateral stretch to the right. So lift your left arm up, palm towards your body. Arc directly side, sliding your arm out to a side bend. Careful here not to lean forward or back. You're directly side. Your head goes with you. And then you're going to feel a nice stretch there. You can bend your elbow to stretch a little more, but don't lift your sit bones. Keep them down. Bottom shoulder should not be hunching. And your head's in line with the curve of your spine. It doesn't drop too low and put strain. It's always in line with your spine wherever your spine goes. Then you lift from your bottom waist to bring you up. So that's your obliques working. You lift up vertical to the other side, up and over directly side. Head goes with you. Opposite sit bone down. Check you don't hunch the bottom shoulder. Reach through that side body. And lift from your bottom waist and come center. Let's do that one more time. Up and out to the right. Reach through the side body. Lift from your bottom waist and come up. Up and over. Reach through that side body. Inhale. And lift from your bottom waist. Exhale. And then we're going to take a breath. Exhale one more. And float your hands to your thighs. Good job, everybody. That was your intro class. Remember, even though you only are required to do it once, you can always do it more than once if you feel it would help you to reinforce the basic concepts that I went over today and the positionings. Excellent. Have a great rest of your day.